Okay, guys, thank you very much that you're here, that everyone is here in a beautiful yellow jerseys. And right now, we gonna have a group photo. Everyone is here, so we just need our photographer to have everyone in picture. Is everyone okay? Or do we need to move someone? Okay? So, right now, we need to figure out what we are gonna shout on a photo. I think wheelchair rugby will be okay. So, 3, 2, 1. Once again, I thought you didn't have breakfast or dinner or something like that. Let's do it one more time. 3, 2, 1. Great, and right now, one crazy photo. Everyone is doing a crazy face, okay? You can do some crazy stuff with your heads or something like that. It needs to be crazy, and we need to gather 1 million likes on our social media. So let's do it. 3, 2, 1. Great, thank you very much.
Good afternoon and welcome back to Arena Gliwice. If you were with us earlier today for the first 2 rounds of the International Clubs Wheelchair Rugby Fives tournament for the Poland Cup. And sorry for the delay. If you were expecting us to seeing a tip-off a couple of minutes ago, we had a massive group photo here, which I think you were informed about. But I'm Simon Starr from GB, your commentator for this live stream, and we have 2 GB teams on court. It'll be Leicester Tigers in red against Northampton Saints in green, and East Midlands Derby. Leicester Tigers at the moment sitting at the top of the table with 4 points. Saints in 3rd place with 3 points, level with the Riders, or Jeje Mikau. And at the bottom of the table at the moment are the Jokers from Bydgoszcz. So this Saints and Tigers matchup is a replay of the Premiership final that was held in Stoke Mandeville earlier in this year. That game went to a double overtime, so the teams were level on tries at the end of regulation play, and they went to 2 extra periods of overtime in order to settle a difference. It was Saints that came out on top on that occasion by a single try to lift the Premiership title, having lifted the Championship the years before. So I'll quickly take you through the teams. Leicester Tigers, the numbers may well be slightly different. Vicky Ross is wearing 10, Dan Harvey is wearing 8, Tom Folwell 9, Taylor Goff is 11, Jamie Stead in his usual number 12 shirt, Lawrence Ball, number 4. Jack Coulson is 14. Darren Bragg wearing 2. Richard Copson 7. And Dave Wilkinson 22. Sadly, we have no Joe Smith, as he wasn't able to remember to bring his passport with him when he got to the airport. Northampton Saints. They are number 1, Casey Higgins. Number 2, Phil Gutteridge. Number 3, Jerry McCrory. Number 4, Matthew Sellers. Number 6, Steve Montgomery. 14 is Darren Coote. 13 is Mike Crawshaw. 23, Danny Dawood. 33, Reece Walden. And 42, Michael Nixon. So 2 strong squads here. And the referees for this contest are 1 each from GB and Poland. We have Dave Woods from GB and Ursula Korobiowska from Poland. And it'll be Dave Woods who administers the tip-off. Referees bump fists and go and check the cones at either end to make sure that they're in position, not possession. They're set 8 meters apart on the try line, and they'll then make their way around the court, and you'll see them coming into picture very shortly as they give another fist bump to the 40-second clock operator and penalty box operator. So, Jamie Stead, the coach and Paralympic gold medalist, leading the Tigers, number 12. Jerry McCrory, number 3, the captain of the Saints. Tom Folwell gets his hand to that ball first, and it's Tigers who come up with first possession. Great pick there by number 14, Darren Coote, the Badger, whose son Blake will be watching. But Stead is able to get away from him and score the first try of the game. So, Tigers lead it. Casey Higgins, son of the coach for Northampton Saints, gets the inbound in. He finds his captain, McCrory, who's with that familiar clenched teeth. Oh, good hit from Stead there. And McCrory riding up onto one wheel before he gets it away. And now Danny Dawood, number 23 for Northampton Saints, plays his Paralympic version or discipline rugby for West Coast Crash. He gets the ball away, but it comes off a Tigers chair, and it's an over and back call, and it'll be Leicester Tigers with the first opportunity to get ahead. So first turnover of the game, and it's Vicky Ross into Tom Folwell. Military combination there. Jerry McCrory, Danny Dawood in there putting pressure on. They're trying to force the Tigers into using a time-up. They've got to get that ball over. And Vicky Ross scores the try. Dave Woods signals there. So, Tigers with an early lead, 2-0. Tigers have won both their games so far. They had a bit of a surprise against the Riders, down by 2 at half-time, and managing to turn it round in the second half to win by 2. As Casey Higgins there gathers that ball in. Vicky Ross looking to dislodge it. He protects it well, turns well, has to turn away from the try line, gets his bounce in. Folwell with good defence. Now he's faced by Stead, but he keeping at it and finds McCrory, his captain, who crosses the line. So Saints on the scoreboard for the first time. And what you can't see down court is Danny Dawood being double teamed by Darren Bragg and Lawrence Ball as Folwell brings it away. There you are, you can see now Danny Dawood sat in the middle of those two. What he needed was somebody to bump one of those Red Tigers players off him before the Tigers had scored. So Casey Higgins looking to use Darren Coote as a lead out. He's now being led out by McCrory. And the ball goes loose. And it'll be Tigers' ball from the sideline. So, strong start by the Tigers. Danny Dawood, the Saints, one of the Saints' most effective weapons, being out of commission, but this time he's got some help down court from Darren Coote, who's freed him up. And it's Dawood who looks to cut off Folwell, but he turns away. And Folwell crosses. Good work. Saints employing a man-to-man or man-to-woman defence at the moment, rather than setting up in a key. So everybody should know who they're marking. It's Danny Dawood, and we can see why Tigers wanted to double team him. Fantastic evasive wheelchair skills there. Now it's Folwell bringing it away for Tigers. Very strong player. Taking his time, making sure he gets there. Just held on to the ball. Oh, Dave Wood says no try. It's going to be a Tigers ball from the sideline. So they're saying that the hand came in just in time and dislodged that ball. But it'll still be Tigers ball. So almost a turnover for Saints there. They desperately need one. They need two, to be perfectly honest. But penalty try. So Saints, they're guilty of leaving the court. And Dave Woods awarding the penalty try. He has the discretion to award a penalty try or to put a Saints player in the penalty box. So Jerry McCrory, who worked for 24 years as a bodyguard to bands like AC/DC and other big rock stars. As Danny Dawood, a rock star in his own right, crosses there for the Saints. Cuts that deficit to 2. And ball over the top for Folwell, and McCrory steals it. That's a great turnover. He pops it over to Casey Higgins, and the GB talent pathway player gets across the line. So this time the inbound from Ross finds Folwell, and he's off to the races. One of 3 ex-military players on the Tigers roster, all 3 representing GB at Invictus Games. Oh, Danny Dawood needing a slight equipment time out there, but he sorted himself out, gets the ball into McCrory and gets onto the court and gets the ball back. And looking for somebody to secure him a corner there, but he's got great wheels to get round there. Good work by Mike Crawshaw there, number 13 for the Saints, to secure plenty of space for Danny Dawood to drive into. And they're putting pressure on the Tigers, but Folwell comes away with it once more. He's certainly their go-to player and their highest point scorer so far today. So 7-5, Tigers lead it. Each team has got 2 timeouts, although they're not showing on the scoreboard at the moment. There should be just below the arrow on the scoreboard. You should be able to see 2 twos, so I might need to put those onto the scoreboard at some point. So Saints have cut the deficit to 1. Tigers once more in possession. Saints do have the possession arrow, so we'll have the ball at the start of the second half as referee Korobioshka calls an equipment timeout for Darren Bragg, Tigers' most experienced player. Originally played for East Midlands Marauders. They've decided they're not going to be able to fix it straight away, so on comes Dave Wilkinson, and Tigers have their full complement of former military players. And Wilkinson's in there with a steal straight away. What an impact player. And he pops the ball to Folwell, who takes it one-handed. Penalty try, says Dave Woods. The judging that the Saints player had crossed his own try line before. This time the inbound is safely gathered, corralled in there by Danny Dawood. With, fantastic skills in terms of evading people, but the ball is dislodged from his lap, but it didn't hit him as it made its way to the end line, and so it will still be a Saints ball. Very, very difficult sometimes for referees to work out whether when somebody's tipped that ball out of your lap, whether it's made contact with your lap at any point. So we've got a substitutions trying to be made by the Tigers, by the looks of things. The bench are signalling furiously to the referees, just out of shot, but the referees say, no, we're getting on with it. And the ball is into Danny Dawood again, but he's got 3 Tigers players around him, but he still gets a hot pass over the top to Casey Higgins. Father Jamie is the Saints coach, has been since July 2018, and Tom Folwell crosses once more. So 10-7, Tigers with a 3-try lead. That is a big lead with just 2.5 minutes remaining. Big throw down caught by Darren Coote. Mike Crawshaw can't quite gather it. It was just too much of an angle on that ball for him to gather it back, and Tigers with another opportunity. So Saints, when they played the Riders early in their second game, found that the Polish team were too strong for them, going down 21-31, which surprised many people because they'd beaten the Jokers earlier in their first game by far more than the Tigers did. So a lot riding on this game. If Saints can beat Tigers, we have a 3-way tie, potentially a 3-way tie at the top, and I'll leave it to the mathematicians to work out the positions that determine the crossover games tomorrow. So all the teams playing 2 games tomorrow, having played 3 times today, and there's only 5 seconds left on the shot clock. Ball's back to Darren Coote, and the Badger crosses for his first try of the game. So good work by the Saints, but they took it almost to the wire there, using almost every second of that 40 that they get on the possession clock. Tom Folwell with a far more straightforward try for the Tigers. Just cruises through the defence and has a whole empty half court ahead of him. So, Tom Folwell with a silver medal from wheelchair rugby and a bronze in wheelchair basketball from the Invictus Games at The Hague, and it'll still be green ball from the sideline, says Dave Woods. Oh, we've got a contact before the whistle warning issued by Ursula Koryabiowska against number 14 green, Darren Coote. So that's their first warning. And Tigers use that interruption in play to make a substitution. On has come Taylor Goff, and off has gone Vicky Ross. Okay, so the referees have decided it's now a turnover. Okay, so it will be red ball and further opportunity for the Tigers to extend that lead. Jerry McCrory getting a hand into that first inbound by Taylor Goff. And he finds Tom Folwell easily the second time, and he drives to that core. Oh, great work, great skills in getting in there. The tiniest of gaps there. Mike Crawshaw makes himself available for the inbound and takes it away down court. the three-point player with a little pop over the top to his 1.5 classified captain, Jerry McCrory. So Tigers have mentioned the Invictus connection, and Jules will no doubt be listening in and watching the game. They're one of their biggest supporters. And that's the end of the first half there. So Jamie Stead not quite being able to get in to extend that lead further, but it's a 4-try lead at the end of the first half. Tigers lead it 13-9, and that's one of the biggest gaps we've seen in these games at half-time. Certainly one of the biggest gaps between Saints and Tigers in their East Midlands battles. And be interesting to see what changes, if any, the coaches make at the half. Saints will have the opportunity through the possession arrow to have first possession and the chance to cut that deficit. But it's quite a hill to climb for the Saints. And you're getting pictures at the moment from the drone technology that's being employed here in this amazing arena. I've been told it holds up to about 13,000 seats, which is just amazing. It's and the you can't see it from here, but if I look up to the roof, there is the most amazing circular screen display, which is just phenomenal. The largest indoor sporting arena in Poland. It's amazingly impressive, and an absolute delight to be playing a tournament like this in such a venue. And the drone there giving us great pictures. You can see we're employing 2 courts at the moment. Over on the other court, the 2 Polish teams are playing, the Jokers against the Riders. But I suspect the Riders will win out there. They won all 15 of their Polish league matches. They went undefeated throughout the season, had a try differential of somewhere in the region of 300 tries. So their first game today against Leicester Tigers was the first time in their 12-month history that they'd actually tasted defeat. They turned that round to beat Northampton Saints in their second game. And I suspect they might be just a little bit too strong for the Jokers from Bydgoszcz. But we're almost coming towards the end of the 2-minute break we get between the halves. The Saints coaches, Jamie Higgins and Gary Spratt, they're watching. Gary's grandson Harry will be watching, I'm sure, and seeing with interest what his grandpa can give to the team by way of inspiration and guidance. They certainly need some at the moment, finding themselves 4 tries down. Looks as if they might be making a change to their lineup. Looks like we might see the introduction of Phil Gutteridge, wearing number 2, 2-point player. Can't see at this moment who the Tigers might be playing, but it looks like they're bringing on Rich Copson, which is nice to see, wearing number 7, one of the co-captains, along with Tom the Terminator Folwell, who's had a very strong first half. And yep, so Copson and Gutteridge on for the Tigers and Saints respectively, and just out of shot at the bottom of the right-hand bottom of the screen. Once you see the ball coming over halfway with Danny Dawood, you'll be able to see the Tigers back in a key defence. They've got 2 players in and 3 out at the moment. Can't have more than 3 in there, but very easily out-thwarted on that occasion with a lovely pop pass from Danny Dawood to Casey Higgins. Sorry, Jamie's his dad. And there's another easy pop pass over the top to Tom Folwell. Normal service is resumed. So 1 try each at the start of this second half. 12 minutes per half, and it's a running clock for the first 10 minutes of that period, unless somebody is in the penalty box. Nice bounce pass from McCrory there to find Higgins. The ball's popped back, over and back, says Dave Woods there. So you're not allowed to take the ball into your into the front court and then play it back in your own half. Similar rule in basketball, and Saints falling foul of that one, and it's Tigers once more extending their lead to 5. So Saints, having cut the deficit to 3, now find themselves 5 tries behind. So this is going to be very tough for them in this second half. Not saying it can't be done. This is sport, and anything can happen. And Jerry McCrory there with a great pass to Phil Gutteridge. Just manages. No, he doesn't. He couldn't quite turn his chair around. In the act of gathering the ball and pulling it in with 2 arms, his chair just touched the cone. And if you make contact with that cone before 2 wheels have crossed the line, then it's sideline ball to the Tigers, who are having an equipment timeout for Tom Folwell. The mechanics have left him to put his own wheel back on. That's a bit unfair, but he's equal to the task and he's ready to go again. So Taylor Goff, former professional rugby union player. Okay. So it looks as if we are seeing a try being awarded. They determined that 2 wheels did cross the line before the cone was hit. So it's 15-11 now, the score, as Folwell is penned in his own half for a lot of the time, but he gets over halfway. Oh, timeout called. So Jamie Stead, number 12 for the Tigers, had called a timeout before Tom Folwell crossed the halfway line. He was worried that he wasn't going to get across the halfway line, so he used the timeout, which is their get-out-of-jail-free card. Danny Dawood just having a chat to the referee there to say, can we have the timeouts showing on the screen, which they're not at the moment. So referees swap positions after a timeout. So Dave Woods will become the trail referee as the inbounder. And Dave Wilkinson gets it away to Jamie Stead, playing in his first 5s tournament, but actually also doing the coaching. So that's quite a feat in itself. And Tom Folwell, in that contact, loses the ball in possession. Stead just gathers it in time, but the ball's gone loose again. And we'll wait to see whether it's a green or a red ball. It's still a Tigers ball, but they've only got 2 seconds left on the clock. Jamie Stead calls a timeout, I believe, so that they can get a reset to 15 seconds. So we're just waiting while the possession clock counts from 2 back up to 15 seconds. So that will give Tigers much more of a chance to score. But I think that's both of their timeouts that they've now used. So Saints still, I believe, have 2 in the locker. It's a bit difficult to remember sometimes when they're not actually showing on the screen. So referees again swap positions as they do after a timeout, and after a timeout the ball always gets inbounded from the far side of the court. So it's Folwell in possession, Vicky Ross back on court, and Folwell gets through. So they definitely needed that extra few seconds, and that easily scored within the 15. So Casey Higgins looking for an inbound receiver. McCrory gets it back to Higgins, and Phil Gutteridge looks to block down court. It's Higgins takes the ball into contact, Gutteridge gets it and will look to feed McCrory. Stead cuts him off and it's back to Gutteridge. Good interplay by the Saints there. Good passing. You don't always want to have too many passes if you can possibly avoid it. because there's always a risk with those passes. Darren Coote just unable to cut off Folwell there, who finds his coach, Jamie Stead, who seems to be taking to the new discipline of fives like a duck to water. Didn't think it would be too much of a transition for him, if I'm perfectly honest. He's a quality player. Also played a lot of wheelchair basketball in his early days. Not allowed to play anymore because GB like to protect their elite players. So Vicky Ross with a great hand in there to intercept that pass on its way to Gutteridge, and Folwell comes up with the loose ball and easily evades Darren Coote's defensive efforts there. Danny Dawood says, let me be the inbounder on this occasion. So 18-12. I'm not talking Beethoven here. Oh no, another inbound that goes astray, and Saints, despite McCrory's attentions on Folwell, aren't able to stop. And Tigers with a 7-try lead, a very, very strong performance by the Leicester side. Jamie Higgins forced to turn away by Jamie Stead, gets his bounce in. Stead with a big swipe there, but it's protected. Denny Dawood now looking to get the ball back to Higgins. He does so, and he finds a gap there. That's brilliant play. Darren Coote just forced Tom Folwell to move across, and that created the gap there for Higgins to get through. But good block there by Vicky Ross to stop McCrory getting to Folwell. Phil Gutteridge in there with a good pick, but Tigers able to get the ball to Vicky Ross, and she scores her husband Marcus here as a referee, and a contact before the whistle warning against number 23 Danny Dawood. And this is Tigers' first warning in the second half. Teams get a warning in each half. After that, if anybody transgresses, they find themselves either in the penalty box, or if they were in possession, turning the ball over. So ball's in to Danny Dawood, and he gets a good pass downfield, but Gutteridge isn't able to get on the end of it, I'm afraid. And good play there by Jamie Stead, playing the player, not the ball. Happy to let the ball run into touch because he knows that Tigers will have the inbound, and he's the recipient from Folwell. So evades McCrory with a nice switch, and he's got Folwell available to him, but he has to cut back now. Darren Coote trying to get an arm in there. The referees are having a close look at it, but Stead not prepared to risk a pass yet. And that's good discipline. He finds Folwell now, and he manages to hang on. Coote's got an arm in there, and Darren Bragg has tried to secure the corner. Vicky Ross does a great job on the other corner, pushing McCrory into the centre of that key to create enough space at the side, at the cone end, in order for a teammate to cross. And that's a very, very straightforward piece of play there by Saints as Casey Higgins crosses. Just over 4.5 minutes remaining in this second half. 21-14, a strong display here by Leicester Tigers. And Jamie Stead bringing it away. Not enough pressure coming on from Saints. They need turnovers, and they need a lot of them. And great pick there by Taylor Goff on Darren Coote. And Casey Higgins with the inbound finds Danny Dawood, but he's got 3 Tigers players around him. But he's equal to that at the moment. But Folwell cuts him off. Equipment call stops the clock. Number 14 for the Saints, Darren Coote, requiring something to be done with his with a new wheel, I think it is. Yeah, looking at a new wheel. So Kelly Withy comes on to change the wheel, and Jamie Higgins, the coach, who's employed by Northampton Saints community team, has part of their inclusion offer, which incorporates a whole host of rugby initiatives. And the ball's there coming from Danny Dawood, but over the top to Casey Higgins, but he can't gather it, and it's Folwell that comes up with the loose ball. This has been a common theme throughout this game, and Tigers have done a tremendous job forcing Saints to put some long balls over the top, and players just not being able to get onto them. And McCrory guilty there of a hand in, catching Vicky Ross in the face. So he finds himself in the penalty box. The call is illegal use of hands, and it'll be a Tigers possession from the sideline, and Tigers get a new 40 seconds full possession. Actually, I mean, that's the first illegal use of hands that's been called in this game. Usually we see a lot more in a Saints and Tigers game, as it can be pretty intense and ferocious with players trying to force turnovers. McCrory comes out of the penalty box now that Tigers have scored. Doesn't need to serve his full 1 minute. Substitutions being made. Taylor Goff takes a rest, and Rich Copson comes on. There's 2 minutes and 40-odd seconds remaining. Clock's still running, and it will do so until we hit the 2-minute mark, and then it will stop for every dead ball play. Not sure whether we'll see some of the other Saints players making it onto the court. Haven't yet seen Steve Montgomery, Michael Nixon or Matt Sellers yet, but there's still time. And another loose pass there, and instead doesn't gather it. He just flips it on, and now it's Vicky Ross that crosses the line. 24-14. So a 10-try deficit. Substitutions again being made by Tigers, and also an equipment timeout for Danny Dawood, getting a new wheel. Rich Copson just moving away, as players have to give the player having the equipment timeout at least 1 metre space. So Danny's got a new tyre on there. He's having an interesting conversation there with Dave Woods. The two know each other extremely well. Dave Woods having refereed in the GB Super Series and leagues for many, many years. Very experienced international level referee, refereed at London 2012. And now does evaluation work, helping to improve the latest stock of international referees for World Wheelchair Rugby. So Dave was at the European qualifying tournament in Norway earlier this year, back in September, doing a great evaluation role. He refereed at the Quad Nations down in Cardiff, and is one of 4 GBWR educators helping train our new domestic officials. We ran a fast-track program for referees to get them up to Premiership standard earlier this year, and it's great to see a new crop coming through. One of them, Abby Montgomery, refereeing here in Poland earlier today. Hasn't done any of the Fives games, but has done some of the Polish Championship games. So, the score is 25-16 to Leicester Tigers, and we have 1 minute and 19 seconds remaining of this game. So it's looking like a nailed-on victory for the men and women in red. And that female player, Vicky Ross, gets the ball, but a good pick by Phil Gutteridge, but great pass to Folwell, and McCrory in there with a still big battle there from McCrory and Folwell. That's a held ball, and who gets the held ball is determined by the possession arrow, and that will be Leicester Tigers, because at the start of the half the inbound was by Northampton Saints. So we now see this possession after the held ball going to Leicester Tigers. They run another substitution. Tom Folwell taking a well-earned rest, and Taylor Goff coming on, and he will take the inbound. So 1:08 remaining. Tigers looking to extend that lead even further. They won't let up against their great East Midlands rivals. They'll still want it to be scoring the last try. We see Dan Harvey has made it onto the court for the Tigers as well. And he puts a nice pick on Danny Dawood, but the ball's gone loose from Wilkinson. He regathers it. It's only 3 seconds left too. They're not going to get in. And the 40-second clock expires before Tigers can cross the line. So with 44 seconds remaining, Saints will get the ball back from the sideline. But in all honesty, there's very little they're going to be able to do other than look to maintain discipline, score the last try if they can. Darren Coote just holding onto the ball, gets it back to Higgins. You know, he's going flat out for it. He's going to score this try early, and they're going to hope if they can force a turnover with 32 seconds remaining. So the ball, see the replay there, and looking to see what, and there was a 1 metre violation there, I believe. What you couldn't see while they were running the replay was that one of the Tigers players, no, they're not calling a 1 metre violation. They are calling a 1 metre violation against the Saints player. Okay, so that's interesting. We thought it might have been against the Tigers player initially, but the referee's saying no, it was a Saints player, Jerry McCrory, his second visit to the penalty box. I don't think that's going to be significant in the grand scheme of things in this game, as Vicky Ross crosses yet again. McCrory rejoins the fray, and we have just 17 seconds remaining. So we don't see as much game management and clock management going on during these fives games as we do during the course of the Paralympic discipline. Players here not quite so experienced that they manage the clock. We do have a good number of players who know how to manage the clock, the likes of Danny Dawood and also Jamie Stead, but some of the younger players just looking to score as fast as they can. And we see a line violation being caused there by Taylor Goff. Whilst in possession, he brought the ball onto the court, crossed the line before he'd inbounded it. That is deemed a line violation by Dave Woods. So Saints, with 5 seconds remaining, will get the chance to score the last try. Sadly, it's not last try the winner. And it looks like Casey Higgins has just been forced into the try cone. So it could well be a turnover ball, but we'll wait to see what referee Dave Woods says. No, carry on as usual, all fine. So we are now seeing a red ball being inbound. So it looks like Darren Coote might have been forced over the try line there. Couldn't quite see that at the top of the shot. And technical foul. So referee Dave Woods calls a technical foul against the Saints, not allowing Taylor Goff back onto court after he'd inbounded the ball. So you must allow the player to get their back wheels on court. So it'll be Tigers to inbound, 3 seconds, and Vicky Ross just holds that ball in possession, protects it until the final whistle goes, and that's a 26-18 victory to Leicester Tigers. A big victory for the Tigers, probably their largest over Saints in all the games they've played against each other. Saints will be licking their wounds, looking to come back stronger tomorrow. Both teams have got chances to get through to the final because we have crossover games. So it looks like Tigers will finish the day with 3 wins and be top. They'll be playing 4th place Jokers, is my suspicion, without knowing the result from the other court. But I'd be very surprised if we don't see Tigers versus the Jokers as the one crossover, and Saints having to play against the Riders, who beat them 31-21 earlier today, and in the 2nd versus 3rd matchup, and that will determine who plays off for the 1st and 2nd for the gold final, and who plays for 3rd and 4th for the bronze final tomorrow. So those 2 games tomorrow are taking place at local time 11:50 for the crossover games, and at 4 o'clock local time for the final. So I hope you're going to join us for that. I was expecting this game to be a lot closer between Tigers and Saints. As I said, at their premiership game earlier this season, the game that decided where that trophy went, that was a double overtime victory by 1 try to the Saints. They weren't able to repeat that today, so we will see them meeting both GB teams playing Polish teams in the match-up tomorrow. So we could see a repeat of this game in the final, but they'll both need to be at their best to beat the 2 Polish teams. So no doubt the Polish supporters will be looking to see at least one of their teams in the final. And the GB teams with a lot more experience you would expect to reach the final, but after the victory by the Riders over Saints, I think nothing can be taken for granted tomorrow. So I've been Simon Starr from GB, kindly invited here to commentate by the Polish Wheelchair Rugby Federation, their president Peter Kaluba, kindly inviting me over, and it's been an absolute pleasure and a privilege to commentate on the 3 Wheelchair Rugby 5s game that have been played today. We'll be back with you tomorrow here on Court 1 to give you all of the games. If you want to stay tuned for the Paralympic discipline games, there's still another game to be played here this afternoon, and I hope you'll enjoy that. If you want to remain, that commentary will be in Polish rather than English, but hope you've enjoyed what you've seen so far, and I look forward to you rejoining us tomorrow. Take care.
Thanks, Simon.